I have taken this dish to potlucks and it's always a hit. It can easily serve as a side dish or an entree. Green beans and potatoes. Here are the two main ingredients, potatoes and green beans. Let's get started. We also need onions, bell pepper, red bell pepper, celery, garlic, and vegetable broth. And all of the measurements will be listed in the description below. And finally, we have our seasonings. We have garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika, poultry seasoning, Tony Chachere's, and Louisiana hot sauce. All right, as usual, I am going to begin with dry sauteing my onions, bell pepper, red bell pepper, and celery. We dry saute this on a medium-low heat, but make sure that the pan is hot before I put them in. This process is going to take about 10 minutes. I like to have a wide bottom pot and a nice thick base so that all of the mirepoix, which is this mixture right here, can be touched by the heat. Because these particular vegetables have their own liquid, they're already starting to form it. So you do not need oil at all during this process. The onions are almost translucent. I'm going to stir that around a little bit more. And now I'm going to add in the garlic. And the garlic will be in here for about a minute before I go to the next step. So let's add the garlic. Stir that around. Smells so good in here, just the onions and bell peppers and garlic alone. Okay, now I'm going to add in about a half a cup of the vegetable stock before I put in all of the seasonings. Look at the pretty colors. Okay, I'm going to put in all of the seasonings except for the hot sauce. That's going to go in at the toward the end. Put all of these in here. Stir that around. Maybe just a little bit more stock. And then just let this cook for a while until it starts to simmer before I add in the green beans and the potatoes. All right, now it's time to put in the potatoes. And the potatoes are going to cook in here for about 10 minutes before I add in the green beans, because they do take a little bit longer to cook. And I'm also going to add in almost the rest of the stock. And that's going to simmer for about 10 minutes. Stir that around, make sure that every piece of seasoning gets all over the potatoes. And then we will be back. Okay, the potatoes have been going for about 8 minutes, but it's about time to go to the next step. I'm going to go on and put in the green beans. And you can use fresh, but I use frozen here. Stir that around. And you can check to see if you need any more of the broth in here, but for me, this is fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to Make sure that the fire stays at a low now, not a medium low, but a low. And I'm going to put the top on it, and it will do its thing for about maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Okay, it's been going for about 15 minutes, and I guess because this is a big pot, we're going to need about another 10 to 15 minutes because the potatoes are not ready and the green beans usually turn like a dull color when it's just about done. So I've just stirred it again. I'm going to put the top on it, and I'm going to let this go for another 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, this has been going actually for about 30 minutes. And look at how this is coming together. The last step was that I took several of the potatoes, about a cup, and I mashed them with a fork and then poured the last of the broth in here. Now I'm going to put that solution in my dish, and what that's going to do is coat all of the green beans with a little bit of that potato. And I'm going to cover this, keep it on low, and let that cook for about 5 more minutes. All right, I did have to add a little bit more of the stock because you don't want this to be dry. You want it to have a little moisture. And then now I'm going to add in the hot sauce. Stir that around. And we now have green beans and potatoes. Look at that. Enjoy.